Since the dawn of time, from the earliest whispers around ancient campfires to the grand tales of modern cinema, a singular creature has persistently haunted our collective nightmares. This creature, born from the darkest corners of human fear, feeds on our very essence. Journey, as we traverse continents and epochs, exploring tales both ancient and new, myth and possible reality. Delve into the world where life meets undeath, where daylight fades and the moon reigns supreme. Prepare yourself, for we are about to unearth the chilling, the terrifying, the immortal saga of the vampire. The seeds of the vampire myth spread far and wide, rooted deep in the annals of our ancient past. Long before the term vampire was coined, humanity painted its fears on cave walls. Shadows that lurked in the night, creatures that weren't quite human, yet not entirely beast. These primitive depictions weren't isolated anomalies. They spanned continents, from the sun-baked lands of ancient Greece to the mystic valleys of China. Tales emerged of beings that transcended death itself. Creatures that preyed upon the living, draining them of their life essence. Each civilization, though miles and eras apart, echoed a single chilling consistency: the fear of the undead, a terror of a creature that existed in the boundary between life and the darkness of the abyss. As we trace back the tendrils of vampiric lore, we are drawn to the valley of ancient Mesopotamia. Here, among the pioneering civilizations of humanity, tales arose of a dark and enigmatic figure, Lilith. Predating even the Hebrew texts, Babylonian inscriptions speak of a woman who defied the very order of the cosmos. In Hebrew legends, Lilith is said to be Adam's first wife, created from the same earth. But she was no subservient figure. She sought equality, leading to her rebellion and subsequent exile from the Garden of Eden. The stories then diverge into murkier waters. Lilith, embittered and vengeful, became a night demon. She roamed the shadowy realms between dusk and dawn, preying upon newborns and seducing men in their sleep, draining them of their life force. The legend of Lilith blurs the line between myth and early interpretations of vampire entities, embodying the very essence of a rebel spirit turned malevolent. Her story serving as a chilling reminder of the ancient world's fear of the unknown and the consequences of challenging ordained roles. The cradle of Western civilization, ancient Greece, with its pantheon of gods and rich tapestry of myths, is also no stranger to the tales of the supernatural. Among the phantoms and deities, there existed the feared Vrikolakas. While not vampires in the sense we recognize today, these beings bore a chilling likeness, originating from humans who led sinful lives or those who met untimely violent deaths. The Vrikolakas were cursed to roam the earth instead of finding rest in the afterlife. Once transformed, these revenants would emerge from their graves at night, seeking out their loved ones and neighbors, bringing with them disease and death. The Greeks, in their wisdom and fear, devised rituals to prevent the dead from rising. Desecrating the graves of the suspected Vrikolakas or placing heavy stones on their tombs was not uncommon. This haunting lore serves as a reminder of the human need to explain the unexplained and the lengths that we go to protect the living from the sinister grip of the undead. Next, we venture to the mystic lands of the Far East, and our tale takes a unique turn. While Europe feared the bite of the vampire, ancient China trembled at the hop of the Jiangshi. They were not the elegant predators of Slavic folklore. They were reanimated corpses brought back by dark magic or the sheer force of their unresolved earthly matters. And once arisen, the Jiangshi would seek the living, not to drain their blood, but to absorb their very essence, their ki. A Jiangshi's touch was said to be paralyzingly cold, a harbinger of impending doom. This manifestation of the undead was often depicted with outstretched arms and a rigor mortis-induced hop. The terror they instilled was so profound that villagers took various measures, from Taoist rituals to peachwood swords, in hopes of warding off or defeating these nocturnal menaces. The Jiangshi highlights the universality of undead lore, each culture tailoring the myth to their deepest fears and understanding, or lack of understanding, of death. In the heart of Eastern Europe, where shadows of ancient forests merge with legends, the tales of the undead are as old as the hills themselves. The Slavic folklore is rife with stories of malevolent entities that defy death. They name them Nosferatu or Strigoi. And unlike the deceased who rest in peace, these beings are restless, rising from their graves when the sun bids the world good night. Their purpose? A hunger, insatiable, relentless, a thirst for the very essence that courses through our veins, pumps in our heart blood. Villagers would huddle in their homes, garlic hanging from their windows and stakes close at hand, praying to be spared from the ravenous appetite of these ancient horrors. The belief was so profound that rituals emerged, methods to ensure the dead wouldn't rise, for in this land, death wasn't always the end, but sometimes a terrifying beginning. As we continue to traverse through history, weaving through myths and legends, we encounter a tale that stands as a monumental pillar in the chronicles of the undead. This tale emerges not merely from folklore, but from the annals of real history, and it converges in the enigmatic figure of Count Dracula. While many believed Dracula to be a mere figment of dark fantasy, his inspiration was in fact drawn from a far more tangible and terrifying source. Vlad the Impaler, the 15th century prince of Wallachia, with a reputation for unspeakable cruelty. Vlad earned his epithet by impaling his enemies, leaving a forest of bodies as a warning to all who dared oppose him. Yet it was Bram Stoker, in his 1897 Gothic horror novel, who transformed this brutal ruler into the charismatic yet fearsome vampire, Count Dracula. Merging history with dark fantasy, Stoker's Dracula became the archetype for modern vampire lore. This blend of fact and fiction, of a real tyrant and a mythical monster, creates an undying allure, ensuring Dracula's place as an immortal icon in the pantheon of horror. The 20th and 21st centuries witnessed a metamorphosis of the vampire mythos. No longer merely the shadow lurking in the night, the vampire has been reimagined, reinterpreted, and reinvented. The once unambiguous monster now dwells in shades of gray, often torn between its predatory nature and a lingering sense of humanity. Modern storytellers have at times romanticized them, casting them as tragic heroes, cursed lovers, or even as vigilantes. This evolution speaks to our changing societal fears and desires. We're both repelled and yet drawn to them, reflecting our relationship with the unknown and the forbidden, the taboo. As the line between hero and monster blurs, we ask a question. What truly makes a creature of the night? And in this modern age, where do we draw the line between savior, predator? While folklore and fiction have crafted our understanding of these creatures, there lies a theory suggesting that truth may be stranger than the tales. Enter porphyria, a collection of rare disorders passed down through generations, where the body struggles with producing heme, a vital component for transporting oxygen in the blood. The symptoms? A painful sensitivity to sunlight, causing blistering or even burns on exposure. Some types lead to receding gums, lending teeth an elongated, fang-like appearance. Was it possible that individuals afflicted with porphyria were misunderstood, feared, perhaps even turned into legends? The intersection of medical science and mythology presents a hauntingly plausible explanation, reminding us that sometimes reality can be as chilling as fiction. One entity has remained consistent in our shared narrative. The vampire we have examined today. These creatures, be they myth or something more, echo our deepest fears and fascinations. They embody the perpetual tension between life and death, desire and danger. As we've evolved, so have they. Adapting to our changing world, hiding perhaps not just in the pages of old books or scenes of films, but maybe, just maybe, in the unlit alleyways, the untouched forests, or the silent houses at the end of the lane. The line between fantasy and reality is ever thin and always fragile. And as day gives way to night, one cannot help but wonder, do vampires still lurk in the crevices between our world and the abyss beyond? As you drift into sleep tonight, listen closely to the sounds outside, to the whispers of the dark. Remember my words. Some tales may be more real than we dare to imagine.